It's actually the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I think that this is a big week for a lot of us as human beings because we're trying to figure out what we're going to do in the new year to either better ourselves, make, next year more successful. For me, I've been kind of making a list of things I want to do differently business-wise for next year to kind of scale what I've been doing and go back to my auction house because I miss it so much. And a ton of people have been reaching out to me about that and really want me to bring it back. But this morning, something happened in regards to my eBay store. It actually happened 3 times. And it just kind of hit home and reiterated the fact of these two things I should have been doing from day one 6 years ago. And so they are definitely going to the top of my to-do list for 2025 regarding business. And the first thing is putting measurements in listings. So this morning I woke up to a customer service question about measurements. Then I had another one come in. Then I had another one come in. So there was like 3 of them back to back within probably an hour and a half time frame. And I thought, okay, this is your sign. You need to be doing this. I do it with vintage and handmade because vintage sizing, clothing made in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s is so much different than the current sizing we have now. And so to reduce the potential of any returns, I always make sure on vintage and handmade clothing that the measurements are in the listing. But I don't do it for everything else. I always thought, if somebody wants to know, they'll reach out to me. But then I had the thought this morning, what if I've lost a lot of sales or conversions because a lot of people don't want or don't feel like they should have to reach out to the store owner or the seller to ask for those measurements. So I thought you need to see if this will actually help your sales and boost the clothing selling faster if you have this already in there. And 95% of my customer service questions are measurement related. So 1 and 1 equals 2, Heather. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's start being smarter about this. Let's work smarter, not harder. And that brings me into point number 2. I wasted probably 20 to 25 minutes looking for those 3 items this morning to get the measurements on to send the answers to the questions that were being asked. And the reason I spent so much time looking for those items is because, and this might shock some of you, I have no official inventory system. Yep. Never have for my eBay store. And maybe that's because I always had it. It was always on a smaller scale and it was part-time where I only had maybe like 250 lots in there max at the most. So if I sold something, I just went and found it and then I shipped it out. Or if I had a customer service question, I just went and found it and then I answered the question. But what I've seen in the fourth quarter of this year, where I decided to finally go full time with the eBay store, and I've doubled my inventory in there. I'm up over 400 lots now. And I did it during the shopping blitz between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I doubled my inventory, plus I sold and sent out a ton of packages. But every single day when I was gathering and pulling the orders to ship out, I was spending a lot of time looking for some of those items. And I'm working out of a very, very tiny space and everything is in one really tight location. But if you go and watch other resellers on YouTube, they have these beautiful inventory systems behind them where it's like all this shelving and all the bins and the boxes are the same and they all have a code on the outside. And if they sell something like a pair of pants and it's in row D, bin number 3, they can go to D3 and they can find that pair of pants immediately and ship it out. I have never set anything up like that. I don't have a spreadsheet. I don't have codes in my listings telling me where certain items are, but I'm going to because I've realized as I'm listing more and more items and I'm selling more and more items, it's getting harder for me to find inventory. And I could have saved myself probably 25 minutes this morning from looking for these 3 items that I answered the questions on that have not even turned into conversions yet. No one's bought anything that they asked the questions about, but I could have avoided all of that if I had originally had the measurements in the listings and I had an inventory system in place. So I want to become more efficient in the new year. I want to work smarter, not harder. I would love to bring back my auction house, and I'm also thinking about doing another kind of scaling off in another direction, but it has to do with reselling. But in order to make all of this happen and grow the YouTube channel, I need to have, as a one-woman operation, that time available to me. And so I need to figure out how to make the store run smarter and better. So if I take the time when I'm creating the listing and I put the measurements in there, and I also give it a code, and I know which bin to go look in when I need to find it, I'm going to save myself tons of time. And it's going to free up my time, and it's going to give me more opportunity to be able to grow the business in other ways. So if you're just starting out in reselling, or you're thinking about it, I'd probably do those two things from the beginning and not wait 6 years like I did. But yeah, so happy holidays, everybody.